Well, it's been a roller coaster ride for the regions over the past 9 years, with the rise and fall of industries like dairy, oil and gas and mining. So has it been boom or bust for regional New Zealand under the national government? As part of our Is This the Brighter Future series, Robin Martin investigates.
Sitting at Ngāmutu Beach, the site of Taranaki's oldest oil field, James Rio, a former country manager for a multinational drilling company, remembers a more recent golden age for oil and gas exploration. Just before the global financial crisis hit in 2008, oil prices peaked at nearly $150 a barrel. They then enjoyed a sustained period at about $120 a barrel, and firms were falling over themselves to seek out new sources.
You could only describe it as a boom. I think over the years, over the decades, Taranaki's gone through fits and starts, but definitely from 2008 until about mid-2014, the industry was really humming. It's really the heyday looking back.
Taranaki's median household income of $70,000 in 2013 was well ahead of the national figure of nearly $64,000. But the fall in oil prices to around $50 a barrel has had an impact. Mr. Rio says the industry seems to be battening down the hatches.
It's almost at a standstill. I believe that oil companies are doing the absolute minimum that they have to keep their leases and to honour their contracts of supply.
It's also been tough down on the farm. 2 years ago, Pihama farmer Jax Lepreux was merging two farms and had just invested $1.5 million when the bottom fell out of the market.
We got our budget out and we just went through everything, and we just drew a line through everything that we knew we didn't really need. And that included Sky TV, included some things that probably the cows probably needed, but we couldn't afford to pay for it.
The dairy payout has since improved, and Mr. Lepreux is loosening the purse strings.
We're not going whole hog, but just doing a few things that we really need to do, like we've built a bridge so the cows, it takes them 20 minutes now to get down to the back paddock rather than 2 hours. And just a bit of fencing as well, just to get the paddock sizes a lot better for a 500 cow farm.
James McCone operates a 370 cow dairy farm near Culverden in North Canterbury. It's one of a growing number of irrigated dairy farms in a region once primarily focused on sheep. Mr. McCone says the shift to dairy has been positive for the area.
The amount of revenue that dairy farming has brought in and the amount of jobs created and the families that it can be supported has been hugely significant. The school's grown substantially, all the local businesses have grown, there's cafes in town now. It has been really good.
Mr. McCone doesn't credit government policies for helping create that prosperity, rather the hard work of locals. The Resource Management Act is one area where he'd like to see more action from the government. He points to the fact that the Huranui Water Project, a North Canterbury irrigation scheme which the government is contributing to, has taken 16 years to get consent.
The time and capital burnt by the local community getting through resource consent process was hugely significant, and certainly in my mind outweighs the benefits that have come from the government grant.
Due to its reliance on commodities such as forestry, mining and fishing, the South Island's west coast is familiar with boom-bust cycles. And few know that better than former miner and fisherman turned tourism operator Mickey Ryan.
When you left school, you went to the mines because it was big money, and your ambition was to get on the coal shoveling it. I suppose when you look at it now, it's laughable, but that's where the big money was,
The end of cement production in Westport last year robbed the area of another 100 jobs, and house prices in the Buller district have dropped 10% in a year. But something else is stirring. Medium household incomes in Buller have jumped by about 2/3 in the 7 years to 2013 to more than $53,000, one of the biggest increases in the country. Down the road from Mr. Ryan in Westport is a modern innovation hub where teams of tech wizards are busy creating for global firms like Disney and Sony. The co-founder and chief executive of Epic Westport, Natasha Barnes-Delica, is part of what she describes as an avant-garde move to small towns.
For me, I guess, I'm passionate about environmental issues as well, and so building an economy based on cleaner technologies and creating job opportunities in rural centres, that really appealed to me.
Despite Ms Barnes-Delica's optimism, there is no escaping that Auckland remains New Zealand's economic powerhouse. The City of Sales has the highest median household income of $76,500. And the country's largest city is set to get larger over the next 20 years, experiencing the majority of the country's population growth. Taranaki, by comparison, can expect a population rise of about 14,000 and Westport a small decline. For Checkpoint, ko Robin Martin Tēnei.